Q4884. Which instrument indicates the quality of a turn? A. Attitude indicator. B. Heading indicator or magnetic compass. C. Ball of the turn coordinator. The correct answer is C. The ball will be centered when the aircraft is in a coordinated turn. If the ball is displaced to the left or right, it indicates that the aircraft is in an uncoordinated turn. The amount of ball displacement will depend on the severity of the uncoordinated turn. The attitude indicator indicates the aircraft's bank angle, but it does not indicate whether the turn is coordinated or not. The heading indicator or magnetic compass indicates the aircraft's heading, but it does not indicate whether the turn is coordinated or not. It is important to note that the turn coordinator is only one of many instruments that should be used when flying an aircraft. Pilots should always cross-check their turn coordinators with other instruments, such as the altimeter and heading indicator, to ensure that they are flying the aircraft correctly. For 4870-1, what force causes an airplane to turn? A. Rudder pressure or force around the vertical axis. B. Vertical lift component. C. Horizontal lift component. The correct answer is C. When an airplane is in a turn, the wings are tilted at an angle to the horizontal. This causes the lift force to act at an angle to the vertical, and this horizontal component of lift is the force that turns the airplane. The rudder is used to control the yaw of the airplane, but it does not cause the airplane to turn. The vertical lift component is the force that opposes the weight of the airplane, and it does not cause the airplane to turn. It is important to note that the horizontal component of lift is only one of many forces that act on an airplane during a turn. Other forces include drag, thrust, and gravity. The pilot must balance all of these forces in order to maintain a controlled turn. 4843. The rate of turn at any airspeed is dependent upon A. The horizontal lift component. B. The vertical lift component. C. Centrifugal force. The correct answer is A. The horizontal lift component is the force that causes an airplane to turn. When an airplane is in a turn, the wings are tilted at an angle to the horizontal. This causes the lift force to act at an angle to the vertical, and this horizontal component of lift is the force that turns the airplane. The greater the horizontal lift component, the faster the airplane will turn. The horizontal lift component is affected by the following factors: the angle of bank. The greater the angle of bank, the greater the horizontal lift component. The airspeed. The greater the airspeed, the greater the horizontal lift component. The weight of the airplane. The greater the weight of the airplane, the greater the horizontal lift component. The vertical lift component is the force that opposes the weight of the airplane, and it does not affect the rate of turn. Centrifugal force is the force that pushes the airplane outward during a turn, and it also does not affect the rate of turn. It is important to note that the horizontal lift component is only one of many forces that act on an airplane during a turn. Other forces include drag, thrust, and gravity. The pilot must balance all of these forces in order to maintain a controlled turn. 4833-1, when airspeed must be done to maintain is decreased in a turn, what level flight? A. Decrease the angle of bank and or increase the angle of attack. B. Increase the angle of bank and or decrease the angle of attack. C. Increase the angle of attack. The correct answer is A. The angle of bank is the angle between the horizontal and the plane of the wings. The greater the angle of bank, the greater the horizontal component of lift. The horizontal component of lift is the force that causes an airplane to turn. The angle of attack is the angle between the chord line of the wing and the relative wind. The greater the angle of attack, the greater the lift force. The lift force is the force that opposes the weight of the airplane. When airspeed is decreased in a turn, the lift force decreases. This is because the lift force is proportional to the square of the airspeed. To maintain level flight, the pilot must increase the lift force. This can be done by increasing the angle of attack or by decreasing the angle of bank. Increasing the angle of attack increases the lift force, but it also increases the drag force. The drag force is the force that opposes the motion of the airplane through the air. Increasing the drag force will slow the airplane down. Decreasing the angle of bank decreases the horizontal component of lift, but it also decreases the drag force. Decreasing the drag force will allow the airplane to maintain its speed. 4844. During a skidding turn to the right, what is the relationship between the component of lift, centrifugal force, and load factor? A. Centrifugal force is less than horizontal lift, and the load factor is increased. B. Centrifugal force is greater than horizontal lift, and the load factor is increased. N. C. Centrifugal force and horizontal lift are equal, and the load factor is decreased. The correct answer is B. During a skidding turn to the right, centrifugal force is greater than horizontal lift, and the load factor is increased. In a skidding turn, the airplane's nose is not aligned with the direction of the turn. This causes the airplane to skid sideways, and the centrifugal force is greater than the horizontal lift. The greater centrifugal force causes the load factor to increase. The load factor is a measure of the force that is acting on the airplane structure. The greater the load factor, the greater the force that is acting on the airplane structure. A load factor of 1 is equal to the weight of the airplane. A load factor of 2 is twice the weight of the airplane. A load factor of 3 is 3 times the weight of the airplane. A high load factor can cause structural damage to an airplane. Pilots must be careful to avoid high load factors during turns.